We are live and ready to go for week 5 of the Blue Water Diamond League. I'm Isaac. Alongside me tonight will be Ozzy for this cast, bringing you the matchup between XG OnlyFrogs and Arcbolt Surge. How you doing, Ozzy?
I'm doing well, Isaac. Thanks for having me today. Not your usual, but I'm sure we'll get along just fine. As
Hell
Singe
yeah.
Wukong off the table, same with Aatrox.
Singe, take it away. As a first ban is admittedly, the amount of games that Arcbolt Surge has played are kind of low. I'm going to assume that's probably because of rescheduling or not. They've only had 2 series done under their belt, so I'm not quite sure what the Singed ban is for. But if we're looking at the ASOL ban, I was one that I wanted to get to with this XG OnlyFrogs team is eventually is a Joby. Their jungler is known for some really odd picks. Aurelion Soul may or may not be one of those. Unfortunately, you won't have the chance to see it this time around. But so yeah, my eyes for this matchup are definitely on Joby to pull out some interesting ones.
I will say, by the way, that even if that is a Joby ban, Aatrox's win rate, or not Aatrox, I'm looking at Aatrox, trying to talk about Aurelion Soul, both A champs. But his win rate spiked after they buffed his Q tap again to like 53 to 54% in mid, so I think the champ's on a pretty good spot if you want to look at stat-based analysis for solo Q. But still, Talia, I would imagine, could be flexible, but it will be the Mel first pick, which, I'll be honest, I think blind picking Mel is a major mistake.
I also find it a bit weird because this doesn't really feel like all that much of a Sluter champion for their mid laner. I mean, he loves the Akali, he loves the LeBlanc, he loves the Yone, and Mel just doesn't really fit that archetype of champion. And also as well as it being a first pick is not in game 1, it is a bit odd. But in response for Arcbolt Surge will be the Syndra, and Viego getting a decently high amount of damage out of the mid jungle duo early on.
They got a lot of burst here for the side of Arcbolt, but again, I think there's better things we could have picked into the Mel as a response instead of picking Syndra. But Caitlyn being hovered here, who's been doing quite all right in the meta. Can't say she's like the best champ in the world, but she's definitely not the worst. Especially blind pick right now, although Riot is looking at nerfing her for some reason going into the next patch, not this patch, so she's still going to be okay. As, I'm curious here, we'll be the Volibear, so keeping up flexibility options here, top lane and jungle, so.
Yep, and like I said, flexibility keeps things open, keeps us on our toes. Volibear's not exactly one that we've seen be too meta all so much recently, but again, not exactly the most out there champion that assuming it does go to Joby. I'm just my eyes are on Joby. I really hope for this XG Only Frog series we get something extremely crazy. Or if it is the Volibear, it's something like straight AP Volibear with like first strike or something, but anyway, that's me a bit coping a little bit and being a little bit too ahead of myself. But Urgot will be the response into said Volibear. We're probably guessing, or at least Arcbolt Surge are guessing that probably aiming for that top lane pick, at least the matchup into the Volibear. I'm guessing is the mindset going with that one.
I think as well, they are at least still banning off top laners, so they are like cover banning top with the Scion ban, which is such a phenomenal top laner right now that I think this champ needs to just be perma banned, or for like you're just picking it early because this champ is just so nuts. You stack health,
But
no one can
yeah,
kill
what
you.
do you mean? Just getting
Like
1,500 bonus HP for free doesn't sound
we're
fun.
completely free because you have ability leveled. Yeah, Poppy coming in is a little interesting. We'll shut down the Urgot E with the Steadfast Presence and a little bit of the Viego, but not the most use case here coming out. But regardless, they don't want to play against the Poppy. Respect. I think Poppy's also a really annoying champ to play against. So, makes your life a little bit easier. But Jhin is something we haven't been seeing quite a bit of recently, but it has been that historic answer into the Caitlyn, and the Bard insta hover here.
Yeah, Jin, as you mentioned, the response to the Caitlyn, at least one that's been done over the years, and so can also follow up pretty easily on the single target sort of burst that Arcbolt Surge are going for. If Viego lands a stun, you follow up with a Deadly Flourish, and then Syndra presses R, and whoever it is, as long as it's not Volibear, is just gone. Sentenced to the Ether Realms, never to be seen again. So it again just piles on that idea of this theme that Arcbolt Surge are going for this single target, just blow them up and not care after that point, sort of. Yeah, theme. I don't know. Words. I wanted to switch up the words, but either way, you get what I'm saying.
Words are hard. Words are hard.
Well, English is the only language I know, and I still can't speak it. And it is what it is.
Club.
But
join the club. Hardest language in the world, copium. As
Copium,
speaking of, not hardest language, but hardest in general. I worry a little bit here for Arcbolts because they are kind of super one target focus. Like they are meant to blow someone up, but if you don't have the unleash power, you don't really have the force shot, or you use the fear beyond death from the Urgot, I think Viego is really gonna struggle getting any kind of resets past the first one because they are just so incredibly one target focused. Whereas if the range coming out from XG here, right, with the Mel, with the Caitlyn, the Bard is going to help back that up a little bit. It's not going to be the craziest thing, but it's still a little bit of range here from their support. That this comp could genuinely struggle on the side of Arcbolt, that trying to actually get the reset, volleys could technically get one shot, especially when, Syndra has her Cinders available to get the execute at 15% off of her ult, but realistically here, and they kind of put themselves in a weird spot where they have to play engage, and they're going to opt for the Alistar this game, which in my opinion, I think is not ideal, because I think playing Alistar into Caitlyn is hard, and then playing Alistar into Bard is that much harder. That I would have liked to see something maybe a little bit better into the Caitlyn, but regardless, anything can happen. Anything can happen with our speech, as English is very difficult, as we found out just now. But I'm keen. I'm keen for both of these comps. But I'm really just looking out on whether the Syndra and Viego can snowball, and if they can't, I really think XG take it.
Yeah, but I mean, and hypothetically, if they do snowball, imagine how insanely frustrating, tilting is the word that I'm looking for. How tilting it'll be when you can't look at these. You look at them funny, and then your health bar is gone, and that ends the fight for it. But yeah, I do agree. It is predicated on the acceleration of this game from the side of Arcbolt Surge. The onus is on them to be able to get this ball rolling, but if this ball does start rolling, we're looking at a snowball going down the side of Mount Everest potentially for this composition.
I think both comps. I mean, this game is going to be a bloody game, guaranteed. If this is a sleeper game, I would be shocked. Again, Arcbolts, though, they do need to mind kind of the range coming out from XG, because they are I feel like they kind of drafted themselves into this bubble here where they're like, oh, we're gonna pick Syndra Viego, right? They probably prepped for the Mel first pick, which is why they picked the Syndra, why they picked the Viego, but then they see Volibear and then instantly slam Urgot, but it kind of closes their comp in way too much that they don't really have great engage options here. The Alistar's gonna be outranged the entire match by the Caitlyn, by the Mel. And those are the only real people that the Alistar wants to get on top of anyways. It's not like he's gonna try and combo the Volibear or the Udyr. That's completely not gonna do much for you unless you can, for instance, just blow them up which again is possible with this comp. It's very easy for them to get rolling. They have a great pick style comp coming out, right? Between the Deli Flourish, which you highlighted, and then you have Scatter the Weak Stun coming out of Syndra, which Viego can follow up on, and then the Syndra damage as well. They do have quite a bit of pickability, but I have seen in the past, and I'm sure everyone else has seen, that pick comps can be quite difficult to play because it all centers down on you actually picking people off at the right times. Because if you don't, they just stack the Drakes and they win. So.
Well, I suppose we'll have to wait and see if Arcbolt Surge can execute on their very explosive composition or if XG hold things down. But I think we're all going to send it to the spectator delay. And when we come back, we'll bring to you game 1 on the Rift, so don't go anywhere. We are back and ready to go for XG versus Arcbolt Surge here in Blue Water Diamond League. And, well, we kind of went through draft already, so if you are just tuning in with us, Arcbolt Surge have drafted themselves a bit of a fun one this time around. Whether or not it'll necessarily be successful is a different story, but we've certainly got some excitement.
God's
but speaking
glory.
of excitement, God's Glory, maybe a little bit AFK, getting hit by Masuf there, slowed up, but be able to get out, and Vision placed down there on the top side jungle for XG OnlyFrogs.
Yeah, not too much going on in the early game as Balmer. You are going to take quite a bit of HP here. Might actually be
oh wait, the stun drops. This could be first blood. The auto drops. First blood going the way of Kartana. Picking up that kill, and now Humor getting snared up by Sluter. And getting down to about 2/3 HP, so one of the early advantage going the way of Arcbolt Surge, and while there certainly is time for them to start to run away with this one, early signs, really early signs, aren't looking up.
Oh, starting this one off strong with a nice little pause here. I'm not gonna lie, so the last time I casted an Alistar, the game was just absolute cinema, so hoping we get the same same deal. Specifically around the Alistar is what made it so cinema, but in terms of starting off strong, I'd say Arcbolt's not starting off that strong, especially giving first blood over to the Caitlyn is going to be less than ideal for you, especially when you're focusing on lane dominance coming out of the Caitlyn, and you already see that here.
Yeah, with the first strike for Kartana as well. And going to be racking up some gold and extra damage with that range. Coming across, get a classic pause after the pause. At the very least for Arcbolt Surge, the kill dropped at a time in which Balmer's not going to miss too much time here in the bot lane, and Kartana was really unable to recall and get an extra item under their belt to be able to get those extra stats. So at the very least for now, it's a bit neutral, at least in terms of how we expect it should go.
Yeah, Jhin sitting here with 0 CS, actually, picking up.
He's got to.
Yeah, he's finally picked up some CS. However, is basically down an entire wave in terms of like gold. Like got no last hits on that one wave, so is down quite a bit of CS early, which again, hard lane early, so I can lay off there a little bit. But Humor taking a pretty rough trade in the mid lane early means he's going to be out of a health bot, so health bot advantage in mid lane is going to go the way towards Sluter, but still overall standard. Nice little Q there from Improvise to get some poke into Balmer there, but yeah, I think it really comes down to Arcbolts being able to weather the storm around the Caitlyn lane, to not give her too much gold. We were talking a little bit about the snowballing, Isaac, but it looks like Diego bought it out on the ward top.
Yep, and there is a little time for the little scuttle crab to spawn up, be able to claim that, so just a bit of an even trade across the map between the junglers, but Scout of the Week finds a stun onto Sluter, who might actually be the target of a gank, but the counter gank will be coming through. Before we get to that, top lane duel coming through. Masuf trying to find a solo kill. Will do, even though the flash goes away. A bit of a teleporting auto attack. Going to get that kill for Masuf. And it's even going more the way of XG, but this could be trouble for Kartana, and won't take tower aggro though, and so the auto attacks drop down onto the Alistar. Finally, Weeds of Warfare get claimed by XG, but it will be Improvised picking up that kill, and while Impara gets the kill onto Kartana.
Well, decent look there from Balmer. Does unfortunately go down. Kartana able to flash away from tower. Minion wave wasn't fully cleaned up there, so doesn't take the tower shot, but interestingly enough will be the ghost flash on the Caitlyn this game, so if barrier was there, maybe a chance to live. But Improvise picks up the kill on the Alistar, but a kill going the way towards Jhin is all right, but I will say your Urgot lane going down a kill to the Volibear early is less than ideal.
That's certainly not what they would have hoped for. With the counter pick and the Urgot going that way, especially with how reliant Urgot is on getting ahead early on, is certainly suboptimal for Arcbolt Surge, who, yeah, just maybe not exactly. I don't know. I don't want to repeat myself, so we'll just leave it at that. Before we go anywhere else, though, the sun will drop its way onto Balmer. Double CC from the Cosmic Binding and the Snare from Sluter. A few auto attacks. Is it enough? Heal drops to be able to keep himself alive. Gets the extra move speed, but we've got a DC on Impara and another pause.
It might just be one of those.
It just might be.
One of those casts of we are just going to chain pause here, but still Balmer taking a beating in this matchup, in this match to say the least. Forced to use out the heal there, kind of getting picked on. I mean, it is a very difficult Alistar game, this match, especially just how outranged you are. So I expect First Strike here to go over towards the Wave XG. Yes, they're already on it. They will have more than enough prio, especially now that Balmer is completely chunked out to pick this up. But I really want to see Arcbolt kind of get on the board here with their Viego, with their Syndra soon. Because if they don't start doing it soon, we already talked about the difficulties that it is to kind of play their draft, that they kind of do need to rely on their snowball ability, and right now they are kind of doing the inverse.
Yeah, 1k gold down at 5.5 minutes is never an ideal situation to be in, just generally, and even less so when the onus is on you to be able to run away with a game. But again, it is only 5.5 minutes. There's still plenty of time to be able to find a way back into this one, but the options are probably going to be fewer and fewer as time goes on, so it's a bit less to be able to look out for. But while we're still paused, a few things to note in terms of these rosters. Kartana is a substitute for XG OnlyFrogs. Normally the starting ADC is Big Wheel, and at least so far, at the very least, within the first 5.5 minutes, you feel like they've done a good job so far. And on the side of Arcbolt Surge, it looks like Impara, who at least in the Master Sheet is listed as the support, while Balmer is listed as the ADC. So a bit of an odd switch up there on the side of Arcbolt Surge. And also Arcbolt Surge themselves also having a substitute in the top lane, with Cuttlebun moving in for Super Slayin. As we see, Impara has reconnected, and we should hopefully be unpausing relatively soon.
I hope so, because we got League of Legends to get through today, you know?
Yeah.
We got to get to playing the game at some point. But yeah, it seems like some, potential roster changes coming out for both sides. But hey, we're back in the match. And more importantly, back to looking at the scoreboard while we're mini paused here again, and noticing that the CS lead in bot lane is not correcting. So really, this gen is struggling in the gold department.
At least it hasn't expanded in a huge way. Like, it was about down 10 CS at like the first 2 minutes, and it's still down 10. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit cope. Actually, that definitely is a bit cope. But
especially now that Balmer had to go back to base, it might just be a bit cope indeed.
Yeah.
Gonna be losing quite a bit of the CS. I mean, quite a big wave, but well played here.
Humor could be in trouble. Cosmic Binding finally used. Gets the slow. Please take the not going to take the magical journey to get away. Humor will instead opt for the blast cone. It is probably the safer option, admittedly, but come on. The funny option would have been to go through the magical journey, just in my opinion. But
I agree. I would have taken it for the meme, but here's a gank in the top.
Oh, yep, stuns dropping its way down onto Masuf. And the Fear Beyond Death, and the amount of burst that this top lane combination has, is able to cut through the Volibear.
Really nice CC chain there to make sure Masuf wasn't able to utilize his own ultimate to get away. And a nice kill back into the Urgot, who is up in CS. So, and the CS and bot lane actually has stabilized quite a little bit here. Gen now only down 3 CS, so CS that bot wave quite well. So everything kind of coming back in swing, but look at the mid gang.
Oh, headbutt pulverize finds its way on the Sluter, and the follow up with the. Oh, I mean, it was a good stun with the Scatter the Weak, but there's just not enough burst damage to find the Mel God's Glory in a bunch of trouble as well. Joby will get that kill, and what looked like a good start of that fight for Arcbolt. Surge goes wrong really fast.
Yeah, Humor not in range to use the Unleashed Power, and a really nice improvised play to stun him up, so that was unavailable. And then Joby just solo kills God's Glory by himself there with the Empowered Q, thanks to his passive. So once again, as I go and compliment Arcbolt, XG just decide to make me basically caster curse them. So good job, XG. And they're up on top, and Para really struggling here now under tower.
Yeah, the 1v1 going very well for the XG ADC. And it was a bit of an interesting choice, one that we don't necessarily see all too often, or at least not much these days with the first strike for the way of Caitlyn, but feels like every single time the camera goes over to this ADC, we see that first strike getting procced every single time, and getting a lot of value out of that selection, at least early on here.
Scatter the Weak from Humor to once again pick up the some poke there. But so far, again, back to a shorter and more, well, not shorter, but I guess slower pace of the game as other Scatter the Weak stun will happen.
Oh, well, of course you
like
say slower pace. Masuf could be in trouble to dive since it comes down, but the Stormbringer keeps Masuf alive, gives him that little burst of health that he needs. Improvise has arrived to get his top laner out of there comfortably, and no Fear Beyond Death available to be able to pick up the Volibear there and claim him on low health means that once again XG turned what looked to be a bit promising for Arcbolt Surge around and benefited for themselves, now up 2.5k.
Unfortunately there, Cuddlebun using the Fear Beyond Death sends it flying back towards his own tower, and not at the Volibear, so means the Volibear won't even have a chance. I think diving at the Volibear with Stormbringer up is also a choice among choices there to take, as they weren't able to layer their CC, which is why it worked the first time. So Masuf playing the Stormbringer really well. But double buff's over, and it's now a 2-1 Volibear, and your Viego is 0-2, which, if you are following what we were saying in the draft, really nice flip back here from Cuddle.
Yeah, gets Masuf down to half HP. Still is yet to have access to that Fear Beyond Death, but it should be back up in just a few short seconds. Oh. Flash forward from Masuf, gets the kill onto Cuddlebun before he can do anything about it. Surprise move. It's hard to tell if Cuddlebun had flash before he gets to that. Viego arriving in the top lane. Masuf going to heal him up, shield himself up and try to get himself away from God's Glory. No, wait, hold on. Masuf can turn this. He's 2 levels up. He might be able to find the solo kill again, but before we get to that, 4 members in the bot lane for XG OnlyFrogs. Simper Fate will stun out the tower. Goes Golden. Bulmer's staying alive with the Unbreakable Will, but he's finally taken down. Now Impara is in the sights of XG OnlyFrogs. Cuddlebun will have to teleport down to dissuade the fight, and actually their health bars are kind of low. Maybe he can find a Fear Beyond Death to potentially get a kill back, but will not look to push his luck. But Humor might. Scatterick does find the mark. Cartana perhaps in a bit of trouble. Curtain is called. The slow drops up. Flash forward. The flip gets the 4th shot of the Curtain call onto Impara. And so maybe a numbers advantage to the side of Arcbolt Surge. The Drake is still a bit hard to take. Sluter in trouble. Heartbreaker drop down, but the flash away keeps Sluter alive and uses the ult to get the kill back in return. And now, all the while, the top lane tier 1 was claimed by Masuf, all 5 plates. So we scrap here in the bottom side of the map. Oh, Humor finds the Scout of the Week. The stun is the lethal there, not quite. The snare finds its way down onto Humor, and the little extra burn gets him low, about 1/4 HP. It's very, very tense moments here with how low a few of these health bars are. But no kills just yet. I think we can call it there, though, and through all of that, actually OnlyFrogs are on the Drake and look to be the one to take it. Improvise might have gone a little bit too far. We'll get the magical journey away, finds a stun onto 2 with the Cosmic Binding to keep himself alive. He's out. The Drake not fully down yet, 2k HP. There's no information here for Arcbolt Surge, so they'll let this one go.
So XG now are blowing open the game. Almost 5k up now, as
over 5k up.
Excuse me, math hard. You know,
yeah, it's okay.
Math, English and math are hard. You know, maybe we should both go back to school.
you say it like I'm not in school, man. I'm just that bad.
Anyways, 5,500 gold here for Arcbolt is. Yeah, Arcbolt really just overplaying and disrespecting their opponents a little bit here. It's kind of just turn after turn after turn for XG. Like, they don't even have to try. Also losing their tier 1 and top lane.
Improvise. Oh, the pulverize from Bulmer. Oh, that is tragic. He won't have access to it. The headbutt away. I mean, he finds the CC onto Improvise. Deadly Flourish is just out of range. That is, I mean, it's fine in the end. Bulmer's okay, but it is a bit tragic. Oh no. But the Tempered Fate finds its way down onto the Viego. He's a Heartbreaker to get away. Bulmer doing his best to peel down. Now the Unbreakable will be used to try to keep him alive. Will not be successful. Cartana picks up the 2nd kill of the game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like XG right now are just on a complete terror through the map. As again, Arcbolt just overplaying, trying to get something going and just completely unable to do so. As Improvise will claim the blue buff that he so rightfully deserves as the support. But yeah, realistically here, Arcbolt just their comp is just so volatile that one mistake realistically just completely can ruin your entire game. And right now, we're seeing exactly that, where the gold lead is still ballooning. 6,000 gold here, almost, for XG.
Yeah, and it's this early on in the game as well. I mean, even without the aspect of it having to be with part of Arcbolt Surge having to look to snowball this game, that gold margin in general is one that's difficult to overcome as is, and with the extra pressure of that requirement for their victory conditions not going their way, it's suboptimal. It's suboptimal, one way to put it.
Impara here, side laning into Masuf.
They're not doing all too well. I mean, I think they did about as good as they could have hoped in that situation. Now God's glory are arriving. Empire's already gone. Joby burned him down, and the flash away could be fine. And try to heal back up, and actually the rest of Arcbolt Surge has arrived to be able to find the counter, but Joby runs too fast, dodges out the Fear Beyond Death. The turn now onto Masuf. Finally, the Viego goes down, but it will at the very least be traded down, and a shutdown will be picked up by Cuddlebun.
Shutdown is great, but your Viego now is 0-4, and also look, they're gonna get this mid tier 1. They're threatening the bot tier 2 as well. And we were talking about gold ballooning a little bit prior here, and continues to do so. And unfortunately as well, the Jin falling down, who is basically your kind of lifeline right here, is...
Uh-oh.
Well...
I mean, talk about Jin falling down. Joby gets that
Ca-
kill, and yeah.
Caster curse perhaps, as the Despawn dies. My fault. I'll take the blame for that one, Impara, but was kind of their like bridging there, but unfortunately he's gonna go down again. Down 34 CS, and now it's Cuttlebun here trying to get away from Mizzou.
He might be able to, because we've got a few members from Arcbolt Surge moving up. Well, it is actually only God's Glory now, and might have bought him enough time to be able to turn this one into a 2v1. Masuf doing their best to heal up, but the Fear Beyond Death says, no thank you. And Cuttlebun picks up yet another kill.
Hey, at the very least, they are finding picks around the Volibear. That has been kind of the highlight here for Arcbolt, is playing around the over-aggression from Masuf overall. But Masuf still kind of scaling. Roa not fully completed here. Balmer is getting harassed quite a bit by the Bard. Humor out of mana as well. So, can kind of slow down the game. Soul point spawned in though.
It would be a potential soul point if XG can find this one. They're teleporting the Mel down. Sluter should be arriving. We will have a contest for this Drake. This is Arcbolt Surge's chance to stop one aspect of the scaling, but it's a good Simpered Fate to slow things down, buying time for the rest of XG to arrive, who are here now. And at the very least, the Drake is claimed by Arcbolt Surge, but can they get out? Joby runs really fast.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's a really great blast cone and a body block from God's Glory to get Cuttlebun out alive. Scatter the Weak doing a really good job to buy the space Arcbolt Surge needs to get out, and it's really good highs for the Surge. But of course, right as I say that, God's Glory is picked off. Sluter going to get that kill, so not all of them will get out, but very impressive stuff considering how this game has gone for Arcbolt Surge.
Hey, they'll take that. It's just they've got to,
The follow-up might not be so great. Masuf in trouble. The Stormbringer not going to get him away, and so the Fear Beyond Death going to be used to get that first kill, but there's so much damage. Golden Eclipse going to be popped to be able to claim the kill onto Humor. Available from XG, going to continue to push down. Flash forward, gets a kill, shut down onto the Bard. Cuttlebun, can he be able to get out? Suter just burns through them, and Cortana as well on the Caitlyn. It was a really good opportunistic moments, a lot of them from Arcbolt Surge, but the wallets are just a little bit too big from XG.
Yeah, I mean, Sluter is just completely, like, just doing so much damage. Destroying the health bars here of Arcbolt. Due in part to just how squishy, realistically, this comp is as well. Just does not aid them, but the problem here, again, has been the range. Mel being able to completely outrange everyone on the side of Arcbolts that are threatening. Been really helpful. Also, I want to say, I don't think Humor has pressed Unleashed Power a single time this game. I could be wrong, but like
Surely they've had to.
I've been paying quite a bit of attention, and everything I've noticed, they have not managed to press their ultimate.
Might have a chance here. Improvise. Getting hit by the Scout of the Weak. Headbutt. Pulverize. Dropping on the Sluter. Going to use a rebuttal to try to get out. Shut down from the Heartbreaker. Getting picked up by the Viego. Now this might be the chance Arcbolt Surge needs. It's a good reflect. And Cortana not quite going to be snared up, but the turn now is on to Joby. God's Glory getting very low through the amount of damage that XG do, as well as Otacon. Now Impara in trouble. Masuf has found the back line. Getting this Jin down very low. Stun finds the kill now onto Impara, but Cortana is always going to be equally caught. and then traded back by Cuddle Bun, but snared up by the Yordle Snap Trap on the escape beyond death. It is still managing for Kartana to find value for their team. Joby's running forward to be able to claim Humor and God's Glory, who are in full retreat. They're not nearly fast enough. Udyr runs super fast. Of course, the Scatter Week does manage to buy a little bit of time for Humor, who is certainly going to go down. The target is to try to be able to get both for XG. They'll peel off of God's Glory, but they'll take the 4 kills anyway.
And poor Impara is just getting run down by Masouf by himself. On the back line there, just not able to do really much of anything, but the Unleashed power was actually used, so I just had to mention it. Humor, they do find themselves the pick onto Sluter. But they had to use quite a bit for it, which meant the resulting team fight after the fact would be a loss. But
they might be able to stop this Otacon. Masouf's taken down to half HP, probably going to go down somewhat soon. God's Glory steals the Otacon. The Smite finds its way down onto the objective. Arcbolt Surge somehow managed to steal it, but at what cost? 2 already gone down. Impara has to flash away, running as fast as it can, but it's hard for a little measly human to outrun a bear. Masouf on a killing spree. Now Humor's on the wrong side of the map. Will at the very least use the Unleashed power onto the Bard to be able to get that kill, but it's yet another ace for XG OnlyFrogs as they look to push into the base of Arcbolt Surge.
Honestly, XG just slapping them with the wallets. It's a 3v5 essentially. Well, 3v4, sorry, as Mel did actually solo kill Cuddlebun there in the top side, but I think they just want to end the game right here.
Yeah, they're going to do their best. 2 Balmers down to half HP, certainly going to die real soon. Both mid and bot lane inhibitors are taken down. Look for a second like XG OnlyFrogs were looking to end here at 23 minutes, but probably wisely back off as now the rest of Arcbolt Surge have respawned, and a bit of a 3v5 on half HP, even with how far they are ahead, is a bit ill-advised.
Yeah, definitely agree as well, but still, Arcbolt were able to steal away the Atacon, which is pretty impressive. But unfortunately, I don't see the game getting any better for them. Even with the Atacon, they're really not going to have a way back in to like contesting this Drake. And Herald hasn't even been picked up.
Oh, the Tempered Fate not quite going to find anyone. Bulmer doing his best to try to find a way in, but the stun drops down onto this little wolf, and the Golden Eclipse finds the execute onto Bulmer. Humor now the target of Kartana, who is able to get that kill, but is traded back immediately. A little bit too far forward for the ADC, but they are able to trade it. Now the Heartbreaker going to be used to be able to get away. Joby was the target of God's Glory, but instead God's Glory is the one who is hunted. But the Fear Beyond Death pulls him from across the map. Cuddlebun able to claim Improvise, but Sluter gets Impara very low and will finally burn down the Jhin. Someone's traded back. Sluter as well trying to find God's Glory, but Cuddlebun will probably be the next target as God's Glory is back in the fountain to be able to heal up. Cuddlebun doing the best they can to find the damage to stop this onslaught of XG, but it's just not there. Game 1 is done and dusted, going the way of the OnlyFrogs.
Yeah, I mean, Column Scion, even though it was banned, the unstoppable onslaught coming through from XG in this match. Absolutely disgusting. Sluter 12-1 on the Mel, just putting in God's work, to be honest. Just doing so much damage. The Volibear damage kind of fake hitting up on the Urgot, but still the Mel damage doing just so ungodly amount. Even the Udyr as well of Joby, 21,000 damage almost coming through from a basically full tank Udyr here. Is very impressive. 6-0-14 as well. Just XG. We talked about snowballing coming through for Arcbolt, but realistically, it was XG who snowballed all the way.
Yeah, it was very much in control for XG OnlyFrogs, like 99% of the way. They do a really good job to be able to close that one out very quickly at exactly on the 25-minute mark. So, the very least, you don't get bonus points for winning games quickly. So, let's see if Arcbolt Surge can reorganize things a little bit when we come back, ready to go for the draft of game 2. So, don't go anywhere. We'll see you there. And we're back again for more Blue Water Diamond League action after what was a very commanding Game 1 performance from XG. Ozzy, what are we looking for from Arcbolt Surge to be able to turn things around and send us to a Game 3?
I mean, let's just play the normal front to back stuff. Like, let's not try to make it too complicated on ourselves now. Like, trying to play a pick comp and then picking your support R5 Alistar into a comp that completely outranges them the entire match is probably not the choice. So hopefully we go back to something a little bit more standard here for Arcbolt. But even then, I think even if Arcbolt had a better draft, I think XG just still... Playing like they did last game, I think they just take the game anyways. Like, they were just playing so well. Volibear ultimately being able to do quite a few funny things, especially to the poor Jhin there. Will be Ziggs. Ziggs pretty standard first pick. I say standard first pick, but I think it's a standard character, just not necessarily something I would first pick, but still not a bad champ. Flexible between mid bot lane. Got great wave clear, great poke, great burst, you know, great pick potential, unironically, with the super or the Mega Inferno Bomb. Is Sivir will be the response, and something about Ziggs is he really likes the short range that he carries.
Yep, being able to toss out those bombs at a range at the very least, even though it's a long cooldown. Sivir does have spell shield to be able to heal up off of abilities used on her, so at least there's something going for them. But the Rel also following up with XG, kind of maybe looking for something similar this time around with a lot of those big abilities dropping down with the Magnet Storm.
Mumu being hovered here, so some counter circles here. Yeah, some counter circles here coming through. On the side of Arcbolt.
Are we going full Atlas terminology with the circles? So you have the circle and the... I don't know. What would they call? What would we call the Rel, the Magnet Storm? That would be, because that's what
also a circle.
A circle.
I mean, yeah, maybe
I guess because it's like a pole.
Yeah, okay.
Circle
behind it
because you know it pulls you in.
Okay,
I mean, more circles. More circles. We got Jarvan and a Mumu.
What is happening?
Maybe that's an Amumu support. Is probably my best guess, as is right now. But Arcbolt Surge, we were looking for something a little bit more standard from them. We're talking about front to back, and well, I guess it is kind of front to back, but locking in both Jarvan and a Mumu is anything but standard.
Oh man, what is going on? If this is a Mumu support, assuming that it is, also playing a Mumu support into Sivir, which you can, because you have 2 bandage tosses, you can get the spell shield early and then play for the re-engage after the fact. But you do have to remember that you are playing a Mumu. So when you do bandage toss and get the spell shield initially, you're still on top of Sivir with no real way of getting out. So of course, Amumu, later when he has the ult online, right, you force out the spell shield with your Q, you can just ult after the fact. So can be quite good into the Sivir occasionally, but still a little head scratching here, I think, coming out of Arcbolt. But maybe they just want to have fun, spice up the drafts a little bit. They're like, man, this World's meta was really lame. Like, look at all these circles.
So let's lock in Jarvan.
Yeah, let's lock in Jarvan.
so let's lock in Jarvan, the champion that was definitely not played at Worlds at all.
Yeah, Jarvan picked 10 times in this league so far, and he's won 3 of the 10 games. So
oh gosh, it's actually a repeat of Worlds.
It is a repeat of Worlds. Yeah, really not a great win rate, but it will be the Renekton Vayne bans coming through from XG. And Talia banned away, and Orianna, so they don't want that many circles. Probably looking for maybe they need something kind of AD mid, unless this is like going like Ziggs mid, and then they're playing an AD carry on the back of this, which is possible, but I would really like to see maybe a bit more heavy AD prio coming out of the mid lane here.
We've got more circles, Ozzy.
I know.
We've got more of them. Circles. Between the Shield of Durand and the Wings of War. I believe is what the cue's called. I mean, those are also technically circles. The little things that rotate around, they floated. He's got.
Yeah.
Oh, also the hero's entrance as well. That's got a big circle.
Yep. The taunt is a circle as well.
Yeah.
Like he got a lot of circles.
Yeah.
Set into the
Yeah.
Ambessa, I think, is an interesting. Could be interesting. Because Set can actually hard win the lane if you know what you're doing on the Set matchup, but it is still a little spooky, I suppose. Ambessa been kind of one of our more consistent top, like, oh no, please, please.
Got Aussie.
Oh man, another circle.
What shape is Realm Warp? It's actually two circles, by the way, because the entrance
circle.
and the exit.
That's true.
Of the one ability has two circles.
That's true. and his E is technically a circle if you think about it.
I mean, it puts one below them.
Yeah, exactly. Puts one below them. What he throws out as a circle. I'm just so lost. I'm so lost in what is happening.
I mean, Darius is very much a Masuf champion. I feel like Masuf's best performances have been on the Darius in general, especially in that week 1. I think it was against Basement Dwellers. My God. He single-handedly struck fear into me as an observer, as a viewer of that game. I wasn't even playing in it, and his performance on Darius was maybe quite the fright, and is one that's very much it is a Masuf champion, and so as a final extra thing, that does mean though it's looking like an Ambessa jungle for XG OnlyFrogs.
Yeah, I was also thinking maybe Darius jungle. I think actually what's very interesting about XG's comp is On the Hunt is actually going to be such a great tool for things like the Darius, because it is a champ that is kind of bound by, or really struggles with getting kited. Low range comp here, kind of outside of like the Ziggs, coming out from Arcbolt, which means the Darius gets that much more value. The additional move speed from On the Hunt's going to really help. I think Galio in this kind of low range matchup as well is going to be fantastic. And I'm assuming this has to be a Mumu support. So hopefully the Amumu support pops off, because they might just leave here sobbing just like Amumu if they drop this game, because they're gonna lose the series off of it.
Yeah. Man, maybe thinking about Amumu support, I mean, the double bandage toss, as you said, for the Sivir feels quite alright, and as soon as he gets the Curse of the Sad Mummy, it basically becomes negligible. So I see the vision. Necessarily into Rel, though, I no, because it's not, the crash down shouldn't be interrupted by the bandage toss. It's a stun. And
hey,
like
you
the
know
dash
what
goes through.
does counter it though? What if this is
Alistar
J4 top
and
J4 top, Amumu jungle, and then the traditional
support.
counter into Rel is set support. Because you start E and you can yank her out of W every single time. So that is some potential there. Some potential tech for the unknowers. Ever slammed by a Rel, you just take set, and she can't really play the lane ever. So that's cool. Now the problem is you're drafting Set, so you have to deal with the Set later on in the game. But at least your lane phase is good.
I mean, he could just press R on Darius if he gets a little bit too close and sacrifice himself with the rest of the team.
Exactly.
You know, maybe that. Anyway, I mean, there is potential there. I don't necessarily hate it as much as odd as it sounds. Jarvan top is one that is one that is one of ancient wisdom, long lost to the League of Legends player base. That one that I know way back when I started playing. I had a friend who would literally only play lethality Jarvan top, and only plays it. Doesn't play the game anymore, but
we're talking like not that far along. I'm like, Man, you were playing in like season 2, season 3, back when J4 used to play top. Like
Oh no,
every game. Yeah.
I was only passed down that wisdom secondhand. I wasn't playing that long ago. But I think that kind of leads into my point of it being a bit long lost ancient wisdom that
Yeah, maybe
perhaps
for good reason.
Arcbolt Surge. Yeah, probably. Almost certainly, especially it's Darius. 'Cause I feel like that matchup specifically seems just, and I played
Pretty
out
hard.
in my mind's when I played out in my mind's eye, because admittedly I've never seen this matchup because Jarvan's never played top anymore. I just feel like if you ever get a little bit close, so we do have update. It is Jarvan jungle, so I'm going to assume it's probably going to be the Amumu support, certainly. All right, like or it's the Amumu top. No, it's
Yeah.
It's going to be Amumu support. Yeah. Okay.
Even more confirmation that
we've got
cook
word
is
from
the cook is
production.
done. Yeah,
No.
the cook is done.
I don't think I don't know if we hear Loki on cast in the no, they don't, but I promise you this is completely genuine and not us trying to fill the air with random thoughts that enter our head as potential things, and us overcooking and overthinking Arcbolt's draft that they've gone for. But yeah,
it's not my fault. I'm just analyzing what's on the screen, okay? Like, they're the one who put it together. Just saying. It wasn't me.
I think because of how this draft has gone, one thing that I'm a little bit disappointed with the set pick is that set doesn't have any circles.
No, his ult is a circle.
His ult, okay, I guess I mean, yes, technically when the ult does drop down, there is a damage circle at the end. Okay, so
5-circle team.
So obviously we don't have access to production, but I promise I may or may not have watched a bit of too much of Atlas's casting, and so whenever there's a lot of circles, my brain's like, yes, especially with the advent of Yunara and the Slurkle, and then everything becoming a circle after that. But
Yep. Speaking of Atlas, he actually had his kid today, so congratulations.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah, he
cool.
did have his kid today. So, W Atlas. But I don't know. We're kind of just waffling to waffle, and these drafts are certainly waffles for sure. Specifically.
Okay, explain what you mean by these drafts are waffles. Because that is a statement
waffles
that I would
waffles can be circular.
And, okay. Yes.
Okay, so continuing on the circle trend here. And there's quite a bit of circles. Sivir's boomerang spins in a circle with her Q. Same with the ricochet.
I mean, it's also the shape of a circle.
Ambessa's E is a circle. So Darius Q is a circle. We have 5. Everyone has a circle in this match.
We've got it. We've achieved the Dream Atlas draft. With what we've been given here in game 2, and I don't, because I know Spec Delay is. I'm assuming we're keeping Spec Delay for it. So I suppose unless if we have 80 more ramblings and random thoughts that enter in our head to make this even more like Waiting for Godot, Ozzy, perhaps, or we just send it to Spec Delay here.
We just
good, or yeah, we're just all right. Well, we'll give it these teams a few moments to be able to go into the future, and so for competitive integrity, we're going to take a short break that we'll come back from to end your guys' suffering. So yeah, we'll see you on the other side of that.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last fight. Hearing voices from afar. Join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last fight. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants?
Guys, we have a situation. I want you to take a look at the right-hand side of your screen and cast your eyes over to Joby in the jungle. I said in game one I was looking for a really weird Joby pick for this series, and yeah, it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. But before we get to that, oh, hold on. Bandage toss finds way onto Kartana. We'll have to flash away, so early signs positive for Arcbolt Surge. They get the flash out of the relatively immobile ADC.
You know, we were talking so much about Arcbolts kind of overcooking their draft, but then we were awarded with a Galio jungle who doesn't even have a health pot, so I'm intrigued. Looking to start on the Wolves camp here, which I imagine is going to be Q start as well, which kind of has to be Q start, but curious they're putting the Mbessa matchup into the Rise, because Rise actually does have quite a decent time into the Mbessa, whereas like Galio can kind of just not care because it's Galio into a mage. Really nice trade actually coming out from Kona.
Yeah. Hold on, wait, a flip's going to drop down onto Impar, but Kartana's a little bit too far away, and now the counter for Arcbolt Surge dropping down onto Improvise, getting him quite low. Bomber going to have to flash away from the crash down. Heal going to be popped to be able to keep Bulmer alive a little bit longer. Now flash forward from Improvise to try to get the kill. One more auto attack is all that's needed. First blood goes way of XG, and they're going to look for a little bit more. Impar of another auto attack drops from Kartana. Double kill going the way of the XG only Frogs bot lane, despite not having the flash on the ADC.
I mean, you don't need it. The DPS race from Sivir with lethal tempo is just that much better. You can't really play to all in. You're playing for poke here in the lane, and picking a Mumu support really just wants to all in.
Oh, Masuv takes a big amount of damage. Will get hit by the middle of the W there. It takes a bit of true damage, but Cuddleman going to have to flash away himself. So bit of a target on Cuttlebun's back upcoming the next few moments, but Humor and God's Glory have arrived in the mid lane trying to pick out Sluter. The ward going to spot out God's Glory on the Jarvan, so the back way, and what looked like it could be a bit of a fight doesn't really go anywhere.
God's Glory.
Though, pushing forward, knows that God's Glory was around. Flag drag, going to go a bit wide of Sluter, but it's still gotten quite low. Kartana just going to use the spell shield on Impara to be able to heal up and not take the damage.
Yeah, and something interesting to note is that Sivir does have teleport to match the Zig, so getting that early game pressure.
Oh, but we have a support in the top lane, so Katana's left alone, hit by the bandage toss, shut down, getting picked up by Impara.
Well, I swear I'm just caster cursing like every person in this in this game.
It is actually incredible how often it's happened so far.
You know, Kartana also kind of struggling now in the CS department, kind of flip-flop, but does have 2 kills. So it's made up for a little bit, as we'll be able to even that out by catching the spot wave as well. But still, Arcbolts are going to be able to kind of bounce back here a little bit after pretty disastrous level 2, level 1, level 2, level 1.
Level 2 is in between.
It was a blur.
Like they hit level 2 in the middle of the fight, so like it was both technically. But speaking of fights, Masuf taking down to half HP. The burn should be dropping down onto Cuttlebun, who's taking a ton of damage, and on the wrong side of the map, the damage circle from Masuf absolutely melts Cuttlebun. And it's a solo kill for Masuf on this Darius. I said it in draft, he was very scary on this champion, and he just might be this time around. 20 CS up early on, and a solo kill is not ideal if you're Cuttlebun.
Yeah, Cuttle was trading quite positively there, but disrespecting the Q from Darius. Masuf with more than enough damage to convert that kill, and man, it's been such a battle of like the CS numbers, and very similar to last game.
But the flash forward shielded around and the public execution. Humor literally cannot move at all. Joby going to get the kill on the jungle Galio. I mean, he is keeping up in terms of farm on with God's Glory. So I mean, maybe this is some new tech we need to learn.
Yeah, chat, my Galio jungle just ganked mid and it went positive with no ult. Thanks to the flash top there. And Joby, yeah, you said it, like, keeping up in CS is great. And you have all of that Galio utility.
And the pullback, Cuttlebun in trouble, getting burned down. Does have access to the Haymaker should he use it, but the Grit is ticking down now. Joby has arrived, probably just going to pop the shield around to set things up. Haymaker is going to keep him alive for a little bit longer, and is able to return the kill onto the Galio. But now we move over to the bottom lane. The counter gank finds its way onto Improvise, who's all right for now. Balmer actually in a bit of trouble, getting burned down with the Ignite, getting away from Kartana, who's just dropping autos down into him. Part of the flash forward to get Balmer, but the heal keeps him alive. Is it long enough? The auto attack is not enough to find the kill onto Balmer. It was a very audacious move from Kartana to be able to trade things around, but it just doesn't quite work out.
Humor with a decent roam down as well, and Kartana not with enough damage to finish off those kills, unfortunately. Balmer living at 1 HP with a nice last second bandage toss, basically. Make sure that he lives. I was a little worried that Impara not having mana there was going to be very negative for them, because the Ziggs was basically just sitting there auto-attacking, but the Avengers arrived, saved the day, and XG take the worst end of that one, especially with a top dive as well.
Oh,
off the back of that.
Kartana has no flash. Flag drag lands its way down. The spell shield will stop the Mega Inferno Bomb damage, but there's just too much available for for Arcbolt Surge. But speaking of XG, Cuddlebun in trouble once again, kind of just trading blows top and bot between these two teams. But Cuddlebun will be all right for now. And so, talking about trading blows, considering the location of these junglers, it just might be the Drake for Grubs trade. At least
Certainly
eventually.
Could be here, as they don't find anything on their dive attempt top. Balmer is really just trying to slow down Kartana's farm here. As actually...
Oh, and then we'll find a bandage toss. Spell shield going to be used to try to heal up a little bit off the minefield, but God's Glory is here. Cataclysm used, nowhere to go for Kartana without the flash. Improvise doesn't really do all that much damage. Will it be enough to find God's Glory though? Flash forward is able to trade that heal back around, and the hero's entrance from across the map. Jungle Galio arriving, and now the pullback onto Balmer could turn this one into a 2-for-1 to the side of XG. Balmer going to miss out on the minion to get away, and so just a few more auto attacks. Joby finally gets that one. Improvise might be trying to set up the rest of his team, find his way down onto Empire. Surely, you don't go for this, Improvise. Surely not. Don't. Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, okay. We're fine.
Yeah, does try. Ghost in top lane.
Oh, yeah. Masood popping Ghost, trying to run down Cuddlebun, gets him down to half HP very quickly. Noxian Guillotine doing a lot of damage. Is there no Haymaker available? And so the burn finds its way down. Humor going to teleport in with the Realm Warp. Flash from Masood to try to get the rise. The pull, the damage finds its way down onto Humor. So a 2-for-0 going the way of XG, but Masood has no mana, and Balmer has arrived to land the bandage toss, and there's nothing left to do for this Darius, but he's done as much as he could in that 1v4.
Yeah, nice attempt from Masood there. Having the Triforce now, as Balmer is level 5, trading onto the Galio there. But yeah, Masood is really accelerated here. Triforce unlocked.
Of course, I said we're fine. Balmer might not be. No, never mind. He is.
Yep. Grubs still have not been claimed either.
Of course, I say that. Balmer's not level 6, won't be able to have access to the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Would have been a great setup if it was available. Instead, the target is now just Improvise, burning down this Rel shutdown, getting claimed by God's Glory. So a quick kill going the way of Arcbolt Surge means that with the Grubs not taken earlier, it might be the look for Arcbolt Surge to be able to get the second neutral objective of the game.
Oh, they are getting pushed off it. Public Execution in mid is going to miss. So Humor going to be able to stay alive.
For only a little bit longer, but Sluter does a decent amount of damage. But in terms of damage, Masood does so much, and just the strict threat of Masood being there did push those surviving members of Arcbolt Surge off the Grubs. And so actually it is not going to be the Grubs going the way of Arcbolt Surge. Instead, it'll eventually be picked up by XG OnlyFrogs. It's a very slow take. It's just the Galio for now. Crash down, not really finding anyone. Stun also missing wide. The pullback from Cuddlebun, not quite finding Masood. Honestly, with how much damage Masood does at this point in time, it might be a bit lucky that he did miss.
Yeah. Most certainly, as Balmer still not level 6, and also will be making his way back towards bot lane as
flag drag from God's Glory goes over the wall, but doesn't quite hit Joby, and Improvises there. But there's not a lot of damage available for these three champions, and so they just look each other off and say we'll save that for another day. But straight over to the bot lane where we will actually have action. Mega Inferno Bomb fights way onto Kartana, but the flash onto the edge reduces the damage. Now Balmer on the wrong side of the map in a bunch of trouble. Sluter is arriving. Balmer knows he's dead, so he's just going to collect the blood pedal for himself to get the extra combat stats, the XP, and just consign himself to oblivion.
Yeah, Sipper with Flash and Spell Shield is so hard to dive. And they found out there, kind of a little bit similar to last game of them trying to dive the Volibear. Where, once again, XG ends up coming out ahead in that. But so far, Game is far more stable than what it was last game comparatively. Here for
Oh, Cuddle Bun. I don't think there's really anywhere to go for this set. Yep, Masuf is just so big at this point in time. 4-1-1 on this Darius. Completely shreds through Cuddle Bun without any sort of trouble. And this is the Masuf Darius that was fabled, admittedly by me. But yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Balmer might be in a bit of trouble. Kartana is here, but God's Glory nearby in case if they try to push their luck. Crash down, finds its way onto Balmer, and the hero's entrance will drop. God's Glory going to use the Cataclysm, but then immediately flashed away. Balmer now down, but it's a 3v2 as a result to the way of XG. OnlyFrogs Humor doing his best to arrive in the bot lane. Flag drag forward from God's Glory. Won't quite find anyone. And it's a really good redemption from Improvise to keep himself and his team alive for a bit longer. And so the turnaround for the OnlyFrogs finds Smart Cuddlebun's TP into the backside. We'll get a few flashes out. No kills. Kartana still dropping a few auto attacks down. Will get hit by the middle of the set W. And so now the public execution goes in. Find the mark. Sluter gets to crash down. Going to eventually find the sun onto Impara. So surely what will be a triple kill? No, not quite. Sluter going to have to jump away as Balmer's bandage toss keeps Impara alive.
and XG fight back and once again break away with the game off a phenomenal play coming through, baiting in. Was improvised there, baited in Arcbolt so hard. Joby.
Balmer goes in. These health bars are low. The flag, but the drag doesn't find its way through. Oh yeah, God's Glory really messing up that attempted steal there. It was a valiant idea, and I know what they were going for with how low these health bars are of XG, but just a really fundamental mechanical misplay by the Arcbolt Surge jungler.
Yeah, those things happen though, but the bigger picture here is, once again, XG 5,000 gold up at 15 minutes. How do they keep getting to these positions? And arguably this game, which again has turned out to be a bloody one, 23 kills in 15 minutes.
And we might get a bit more because Humor is within the crosshairs of XG OnlyFrogs, but he's getting away as fast as he can. The stun finally finds the mark. Magnet Storm finds its way down. Sluter is unstoppable. And so the rest of Arcbolt Surge are arriving to do their best to turn this one around, but Sluter does so much damage, eventually burning his way through these health bars of Arcbolt Surge. Improvise going to use a crash down to get the shield and to get away. Joby arriving to get Balmer, baiting them in. Once again, the margins are fine, but the gameplay's even finer from Arcbolt Surge. At least, the very least, they will be able to get Improvise, but it comes at the cost of the entirety of the Arcbolt Surge team.
Yeah, 07 says XG. Joby 6-1-4 on the Galio jungle here. Ziggs also opting in for a no mana build. Rushes the Leandries and really starting to feel the woes of not having a mana item, because every fight he's essentially just which for a mage, considering
not
your spells
ideal.
are casted with mana, really not where you want to be. But still, XG have been playing so well this series so far and are not slowing down.
And they're looking for a bit more Justice Punch. Lands onto Cuddle Bun, but Masuf won't care about the Haymaker shield, and now Balmer's in a really tough position. Will use the bandage toss onto Masuf as an escape tool, but he's pulled right back. Sentenced to death. Improvise will be the one to pick that up. Doesn't really matter because Masuf was 6 levels up on this Amumu, and that amount of stats alone is basically insurmountable.
We are nearing as well. Humor doing some decent damage here, but we are nearing a Flame Horizon in the top lane. we are just under 30 CS now of a Flame Horizon happening.
Yeah, it's not been the best of games for Cuddlebun Once again, another person on the receiving end of Masuf Darius, and I mean, this is what Masuf does on this champion. I don't know if you have to consider just banning it away from him from now on, and Redemption will drop to try to keep Masuf alive. 4 members of Arcbolt Surge are arriving to be able to try to find this fight. Cuddlebun will be burning down in terms of health. Will he die? No, he will not. So the shutdown goes the way of Arcbolt Surge, but it took all 5 members to stop Masuf.
Yeah, shutdown does go to Ziggs, so that's nice, I guess. Has the tier now, so a disciple of Zeka, I see. Picking up the 20-minute tier. More so 18-minute tier in this match, but still very dire look here for Arcbolt as XG, even with Masuf going down top lane, still in a ridiculously favorable position here to win the match.
Yeah, and even though they lost Masuf, it took everybody to do it, and so XG opened up the map a little bit more with the mid lane tier 1 and bot lane tier 1, just to add a little insult to injury. But as you mentioned, at 18 minutes, XG OnlyFrogs are over 8k up, and it's suboptimal if you're a League of Legends player to be on the receiving end of that. Yeah, it's not great.
Hey, it could be 10k. Oh wait, it's getting there.
It's awfully close.
It is certainly getting there.
Certainly at a spot in which we could be talking about a 10k gold lead, not before 20 minutes, but not long afterwards. An update on the Flame Horizon, only 20 CS off for Masuf. But speaking of Masuf, everyone arriving in the top lane once again. All 5 members, including the Mega Infernal Bomb, showing up in the top lane to be able to kill Masuf. But that just opens up the bot side of the map for the Drake to be picked up by XG OnlyFrogs, as well as the bot lane tier 2.
Yeah, more gold.
Yeah, I mean, these tier 2 towers are worth so much these days. It's like, I feel it's even like more gold given over to XG for that tower than it is the kill onto the Darius who's been terrorizing Arcbolt Surge.
At the very least, like, no longer with a shutdown as well, and also this should be Atacon, which is even more gold value in terms of stats going their way. That, yeah, realistically, XG do find themselves an objective bounty in top lane. Or not XG, but Arcbolts do find themselves a nice little objective bounty in the top lane. But something that's really surprised me, Joby making the Galio jungle pick work.
Oh, are they going to try to find the dive onto Masuf? Here his entrance will be dropped to help out his top laner. The flash forward, the taunt only going to find its way onto 1. But now the healing circle of the Redemption drops onto Masuf, but it's not quite enough to keep him alive, but it will buy enough time for 1 kill to be able to trade back around Humor now in the crosshairs of XG OnlyFrogs, and I'm not quite sure why Balmer tried going back in. He just gifted himself over to Arcbolt Surge on top of Humor.
Humor is unironically doing so much damage. Like, this is a Rise that doesn't even
He's got
have
the 2
roll
items
fully completed. Yeah, like, Roa will complete very shortly, but still not fully completed. Just now finished his tier 2 boots. As the Rise is kind of scary, and it's Leandry's Rylai's 6.
I see.
We are 72 stacks on our tier. Oh,
yeah.
Mana's a construct. Improvise is trying to 1v1 in par.
I mean, maybe it buys time for the rest of your team to arrive to try to collapse onto the Ziggs, but the rest of Arcbolt Surge are here. Let's keep Impara safe, and so we back off once again. But yeah, the meta is indeed a social construct. That I agree with this sentiment. Whether or not this exact take on the Ziggs build from Impara is ideal or not is debatable, but I mean, the extra slows from range allows you to get a little bit closer with. Wait, hold on. Before that, Bulmer in trouble once
Oh
again,
my
getting
God,
auto
the super
attack
damage.
down. Redemption won't quite matter, and the flash forward will be able to get Impara's down as well. And actually, Improvise might be in a bit of trouble. Going to be targeted by the tower aggro, instead just going to use the crash down to get away. God's Glory now going to be executed publicly. And, yeah, not much he could do except for flag drag away. And might have actually bought himself the distance he needs to get out. Show will be stopped down onto Sluter, find its way to Improvise, but Cuddlebun just in a bit of trouble now. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Will manage to find a way to get out because Sluter is just targeting Humor instead, which is honestly more worthwhile. And so Cuddlebun will be the next one for XG OnlyFrogs. Double kill for Sluter, and now a tower dive down onto Impara. It took a little bit of time, but XG OnlyFrogs find the fight in comfortable fashion. 4 kills for nothing. They're pushing into the base. They're looking to take the series, and what is a very... Curse the Sad Mummy finds his way onto 5. That looked kind of cool. He gets a shutdown, but that is an ace. For XG OnlyFrogs, with so many alive in the push in the mid-wave, you gotta feel that this is game, set, and match. Oh, hold on, Joby died. The respawns are coming back up. God's Glory is ready and available. Humor's up in 3. The damage isn't quite down onto the Nexus. God's Glory going to do his best to slow things down to stop the end. Instead, he gets gets the guillotine to the head by Masuf Noxian Variety, who may have pushed his luck a little bit too far. Can he find Humor? No, he cannot. Bit of a miscommunication from Kartana and Masuf. One wanted to go in, the other one wanted to get out, and so a little bit more gold going over to Arcbolt Surge, and technically this game isn't over just yet. The Nexus survives for a little bit longer.
XG having maybe a little bit of fun there.
Masuf
Definitely could have ended
specifically.
there, but a triple kill over to Balmer, which, hey, Balmer low-key frying him. You see how much damage he did there at the end?
Yeah, he's actually a decent
He's
for
frying.
support.
He's
No
frying
KM
as
out.
full tank of Mumu. He even has his third item. He has his third item ahead of half of his team.
He's got the Abyssal Mask, which actually, that does help out quite a bit for the amount of magic damage that Arcbolt Surge has. It's a bit of an expensive one when you get that huge of injection of gold as support. You might as well go for it, but the crash down Magnet Storm finds its way onto 2. Flag drag. Going to try to counter this engage down onto Kartana, who's actually just does more damage than those 2 melee champions. And a double kill finally picked up by Kartana. Cuddlebutton with the showstopper will finally get the target that Arcbolt Surge looked for, but that just gives space for Sluter to do Sluter things. Takes out Impara, and only Human Cuddlebutton are left alive, retreating to their fountain to heal up. But this one's felt inevitable for quite a while. Another 10k gold advantage on this win in a 26-minute game this time around here in Game 2 for XG OnlyFrogs. Concludes this series in a very, very textbook manner, I guess. I don't know. I was looking for something else there, but it wasn't coming to me. Either way, point still stands. GG, well played, XG OnlyFrogs.
Yeah, I mean, GG well played and GG easy for XG OnlyFrogs. Is really, they just came to play today. Just absolutely just decimation on the Rift is the easiest way to describe it here. Masuf on the Darius' game going 7-5-5. A little bit of some fun moments there in the top lane, kind of limit testing. But outside of that, right, this XG team looking very dangerous. The Galio jungle doing 18,500 damage, 9-2 and 12. You know, Kartana had a rough lane, a rough start to the game, but still did most damage in the game. Went 8-5 and 10. So all of that effort was but basically nothing. And Arcbolt Surge are just shut out of the match, like shut out of the series completely.
Yeah, it was. I mean, XG OnlyFrogs are one of the top teams that a lot of the teams around the league were looking at as one of the favorites to win this Blue Water Diamond League season. And well, they moved up to 4-1 on the on in the regular season with that result, and yeah, they certainly are looking like one of the teams to beat for sure, especially after this result. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to expand on that. So unless if we have anything else, Ozzy, I think that'll be it from us tonight here at Blue Otter League. Thank you for tuning in. I've been Isaac. Alongside me has been Ozzy. Loki's been running things behind the scenes to be able to present to you this game. And so from everyone at Blue Otter League, have a good night. We'll see you soon.